Hi, I'm Tracey Larin, founder and CEO of Curiosity Knocks Incorporated. I'm your world-class breakthrough coach. Follow me into the firebox. I developed the company 7 years ago with the four main principles of honesty, integrity, sincerity, and loyalty. What I noticed though after two decades of working in crisis management with families was that there was a certain amount of similar patterns that were happening over and over in people's behaviors that were almost debilitating and not allowing them to get ahead in their lives. The problem is that most of us don't take the time to look within ourselves. And within ourselves is where lies the truth. I first started out my career as a young lady in the underground world where money moves hand over fist. But in that world, the more you make money, the more upline it goes. So after a few years of trying that world, I basically retired as a queen in the underground world without a crown. Then I said, okay, how can I give back to the community? Because I knew during that time that I was not being true to myself. And in turning my life around, I decided, you know what? I'm going to take from the lessons that I learned from the underdog, and I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to become a better, greater person and teach people how to turn their lives around. I decided to become a crisis worker. I went to school for 3 years while raising a son on my own. I'm a single mom of two boys. And during the time, I advanced very quickly in the crisis management field because I knew what it took to get out of situations like that because I had been a high-risk person at that point. I went from being a crisis manager into the corporate world, and I thought, wow, this is fantastic. The corporate world has to have all the structures, all the policies and procedures in the manuals to protect me. I thought, well, this is great. Like in the corporate world, I'm going to be so safe. And people are nice and they're conservative and I don't have to worry about anything in my back or whispering behind me. Everybody's going to work together as a team because this is the corporate world. Well, let me tell you, because I had no fear, because I was a crisis manager, because I've always outworked the most, I'm a grinder. I work hard. I moved up that ladder very, very quickly, and I became the head CEO, assistant or a business developer, and I followed around 3 major business bosses of mine for 14 years, and all 3 of them were very, very hard to handle. And, they were the boss, and you do as they say, or guess what? You're gone. You're pink slipped, you're out of there. And when you have 2 children at home and your own, and I never had a husband, I raised them myself. Like I said, I had my help with my parents, but there was always that fear. I'm walking on eggshells. If I do the wrong thing, they're going to fire me. You start to realize after 10, 15 years that you're just another number. And that's where I feel that, corporations have gone wrong. And so with my company and developing my company, I thought to myself, how can I develop programs to reach them? So I started my company originally basically networking out and helping coach people out of their emotional torment, out of their emotional issues, out of their mindset, their negative mindset. I had to learn that, I had to stop and reset, and I had to analyze my own mind and in my heart and figure out what was going on with me. What are the truths that are stored up within me? And I started to become curious, and I started to seek a lot of different things that I was curious about. I started to, have like a new mind, and I was seeking so much information, and I was constantly grasping to learn and to understand books and to study and audiobooks. For 4 years, I did not listen to music in my car. I listened to audiobook after audiobook. And oftentimes, I could not understand why everybody who was writing these books to help the average person such as myself would make everything so complicated. I mean, I would literally be driving and pulling over to the side of the road, looking in the dictionary to figure out what all these big, huge words were, when I just wanted someone to just tell me the basic facts. So what I did was, after 8 years of researching and digging and, learning from the big gurus and going to multi-millionaire seminars and spending thousands of dollars learning all of these different things, I realized in the end that a lot of these things that a lot of these writers and a lot of these psychiatrists and psychologists and social behavior and cognitive behavior therapists try to help you is that a lot of them have not had their own personal circumstances. I don't know about you, but I personally could never follow someone that's given me advice that had never been in their own emotional pit within themselves. I would often say to them, okay, I see the fact that you have your children there. There's nice pictures. They all have the top hats from graduating. But have any of your children been through the things I've been through? I'm a product of rape, and I was adopted out within 6 months. Immediately, my biological family wanted me removed away from my monster father to make sure that he didn't get custody, because my biological mother has adverse mental issues, mental health issues. She's a beautiful woman. She's now passed away, but she had shock treatment 3 times in the 70s, and had the mind of a 5-year-old. And so that is why I'm here. I'm here because I don't believe in judging anybody. I, for one, have been many forms of my character. I have no right to judge anybody, but at the same time, on the inside, I just never really quite felt like I fit in anywhere. I wasn't too sure about who I was or what I wanted, or even what parts of myself were my own identity at that point. As I got older, I had some more tragedy and some more trauma, and because I never got help from any of it, it just compiled, and I just was constantly trying to crawl out of this. I call it my emotional pit, crawl out of this pit, and I just could not see any light at the end of the tunnel. And and then I realized as I got older that I was literally causing that for myself. I was the one that wasn't allowing myself to see. I was the one that was making myself feel insecure. I was the one that was overly judging myself. And honestly, it's like self-abuse. I wasn't being good to myself. And where does that come from? I'm not too sure. But I can tell you one thing. We don't always know exactly the truths that are stored within us. But I will tell you one thing. If you do not figure out who you are, what you want, and where you're going in your own life map, you will go nowhere. And you will stay stagnant, and you will learn, you will just stay within yourself, and you will not progress. And one day will come by, and then it'll be gone. And the next day will come by, and then it'll be gone. And then in your future, you'll wake up and you realize, wow, I spent 10 to 15 years worried about everything in the world, and 90% of it never even came true. Hey, nobody is perfect. We're all human. We all have challenges, choices, and changes that we need to make in our lives. And sometimes it's not easy to do it alone. I'm here to help you. Our programs, our company, it changes lives. Come on through, and we'll show you what's through on the other side.